Hello! Today's story is the adaptation of a famous novel about the forbidden and unrequited love of a grown man for a 12-year-old girl, whom he takes away from her home after the death of her mother. Watch the video until the end to find out how this dramatic journey ends, and how the lives of each of its participants turn out. Young Humbert spends his vacation in sunny Cannes. At the Hotel Marana, he meets a beautiful girl, Annabelle. She dreams of becoming a Sister of Mercy, while he wants to become a famous spy. The teenagers in love enjoy their carefree life and spend time on the beach under the sultry summer sun. But the story of Humbert's first love ends in tragedy. Annabelle dies of typhus. As an adult, the man still carries the pain of losing his loved one in his heart. Humbert works as a professor at an American college. He goes on vacation for the summer to finish his work on a French literature textbook. His creative retreat is at the home of a young widow, Charlotte Hayes. The woman is very pretty, but Humbert stays at her house for a different reason. The widow's daughter, 12-year-old Dolores, fascinates the man with her resemblance to Annabelle, who died many years ago. From the very first day, Humbert can't take his eyes off of the young girl, and furtively watches Dolores, whom his mother calls Lolita, or Lo in short. The professor works on the textbook at night. To distract himself, the man turns on the radio. His room is next to Lo's, and the sound of music wakes the girl up. Sleepily, dressed in pajamas and with her hair in curls, she walks in.
You woke me up.
Sorry.
At the girl's request, Humbert turns off the music and sneaks off to follow her. When he comes down to the first floor, he sees her sitting on the kitchen floor by an open fridge. Lolita is eating ice cream with raspberries, and she looks adorable at the moment. The girl notices the man's fascinated gaze and shows her own interest in him. Lolita allows herself to do provocative tricks on the edge between teenagers and adult women's behavior. One day, for example, she boldly sits on Humbert's lap as he works at his desk. The embarrassed professor does not push the girl away, for he is already completely in love. From this moment on, the love flirtation between the characters begins, which is secretly accompanied by mutual touches. Charlotte also gives Humbert signs of attention, which the man coldly accepts. In her dreams, though, the young widow is already making plans for a new marriage, and in order to arrange the beginning of a happy family life, takes Lolita to a boarding house against her will. Before she leaves, Lolita gives Humbert her first passionate kiss, and Charlotte leaves a frank letter in which she tells him of her love and asks the man to wait for her return if he has feelings for her as well. Humbert decides to stay married to the woman he does not love. He patiently endures living together with Charlotte only because he manages to avoid his husbandly duties. The man pours different doses of sleeping pills into his wife's meals and drinks every day. Charlotte, however, believes that she is in heaven until the day she finds Humbert's passionate letters to Dolores, in which he calls the woman all kinds of cuss words.
The Hayes woman. The fat cow.
Insulted and humiliated, Charlotte announces her decision to leave today. Before she leaves, she wants to send letters to her daughter, and while running across the road, she's hit by a car before she can throw the envelopes into the mailbox. With Charlotte's death, Humbert's dream comes true. There is no longer an obstacle between him and Lolita. Presenting himself as her father, the happy man takes the girl away from the boarding house. Humbert and Lo are driving in the car together. The girl continues to behave carelessly and changes clothes in the back seat of the car, while the man peeks at her with great interest in the rearview mirror. He does not tell Lo about her mother's death, but lies about her stomach ailment and says Charlotte is in the hospital. Lolita, on the other hand, wants to talk about how she cheated on Humbert at the boarding house, thinking that he had stopped being interested in her. To prove otherwise, Humbert pulls over, jams the engine, and kisses his beloved. The couple arrives at the hotel. While Humbert is asking the receptionist about the room, Lolita's attention is drawn to the little dog in the lobby. The little girl crawls towards her on her knees. The leash is held by a respectable man. He tells Lolita that his doggy only likes nice, good-looking people. Lolita looks at the man with interest and smiles, flattered. In the evening, Humbert and Lo dine at the hotel restaurant. The girl tells him that the famous writer Quilty sits at one of the tables and that she saw him this morning in the lobby with his dog. In their room after dinner, Lolita again does her best to tell Humbert how nasty she was at the boarding house. Humbert, in turn, deliberately avoids the unpleasant conversation. He leaves Lolita alone in the room so she can change, locking the door. The man walks out into the terrace of the hotel. Together with him, a mysterious stranger in a rocking chair observes the thunderstorm. He starts talking about Lolita and offers the three of them to have lunch the next day. Humbert cautiously replies that Lolita is his daughter and they are leaving tomorrow, so he has to refuse. Returning to his room, Humbert finds Lolita asleep. He puts on his pajamas, lies down in bed, and looks at the young girl next to him. Passionate thoughts do not let him rest, but the man dares not do anything. In the morning, however, when Lolita wakes up, she herself shows Humbert her desire for a more intimate relationship. This is how the man realizes that Lolita was already an adult when she arrived from the boarding house. And on the way, he tries to get the story of who her first lover was from Lo, but now the girl herself refuses to discuss the subject. When the couple stops at a gas station, Lolita asks Humbert for change and the phone number of the hospital to call her mother. The man realizes that the time has come to reveal the truth and tells Lolita that Charlotte has died. The next night at the hotel, Lolita cries bitterly in her room. Humbert listens to her from behind the wall, but does not come to comfort or soothe her. In tears, she comes to him herself and climbs under the blanket. After crying out her grief overnight, Lolita acts like a happy, naughty teenager again, singing songs in the car, sucking on candies and doing mischief while Humbert is driving. In yet another hotel room, she flushes the toilet so that the man in the shower is doused with hot water. During the trip, the couple both quarrels and reconciles. The man puts up with all of the antics of the teenage girl and lovingly satisfies her whims, like playing tennis. And in return, he gets what he wants in the hotel rooms. Humbert decides to settle down with Lolita in a small town, and posing as her father, sends the girl to the female gymnasium, where plays, dances, and dates with suitors form the basis of her education. The man finds himself in a contradictory role. He is both the despot who corrupts innocence and at the same time a happy father. Humbert braids Lolita's hair, helps her learn history, and zealously controls her relationships with male peers. Lolita becomes short of pocket money, so she manipulates Humbert's attraction to her to double the amount she receives. Unable to resist the temptation, the man agrees to give her $2 of pocket money instead of $1. In order to control Lolita, Humbert comes to the rehearsal of the play. At the backstage, Mona, Lo's friend, speaks to him. She points to the man at the entrance to the room, saying that the author of the play, Claire Quilty himself, attends the rehearsals. Lolita becomes less and less interested in her passionate nighttime relationship with Humbert. Now, to satisfy his desire, the man has to pay for it. He begins to suspect that the girl is raising money to escape. Humbert is informed that Lolita has been skipping piano lessons. The girl has an answer to his concerns. She was in the park with a friend. She even gives Mona's phone number to confirm what she says. Humbert receives the confirmation, but doesn't believe it. He realizes that the girls are conspiring against him. The man loses his temper and directly confronts Lo with his suspicions that she wants to run away, and at the same time, demands that she give him all the money she had saved. Lo responds with defiance, calling him a dirty old man who she earned the money from and is not going to give it back. Humbert gives her a hard slap in the face. With tears in her eyes and resentment in her heart, Lolita leaves home on her bicycle. Humbert rushes out to look for her and finds her late at night at a cafe by the telephone. Seeing him, the girl quickly ends the conversation. Her mood has changed. Lolita is being nice again and flirts with him, which quickly brings back Humbert's affection for her. On their way home in the pouring rain, the girl tells him that she wants to go on another car trip, only on the condition that she chooses the route herself. At night, the couple solidifies their reconciliation. Humbert and Lo are on the road. The girl enthusiastically names him the cities and dates of their journey. The happy man agrees to everything. Humbert's blissful state is interrupted by the suspicion that they are being watched. In the rearview mirror, he sees a car following him. Humbert asks Lo to write down the license plate number in a notebook. The girl complies with his request, but at the same time tries to draw his attention. Glancing at the man, she provocatively eats a banana with her colored lips. At the next gas station, Humbert lingers at the display case with the sunglasses when he sees a strange man in a suit talking to Lolita. Concerned that the stalker is caught up with them, Humbert runs outside. The stranger, however, is already gone. In response to Humbert's questions, Lolita answers that the man was lost and was asking for directions. Humbert is anxious and senses danger. He asks Lo to take out the notebook with the car number and sees that the girl has written different letters and numbers on top of the previous note. This makes him lose his temper and he slaps Lolita in the face again. The girl runs out of the car in tears, but Humbert manages to catch up with her and calm her down. At the hotel, the man tries to smooth over the argument and goes to the store to buy bananas for Lo. On the way, he also stops by the barbershop to make himself look good. When he returns, he finds Lo with dirty feet and red lipstick smeared all over her face. He realizes that the girl had left the room and met someone else. Lolita looks at him smugly, implying that she's not going to answer any questions. Humbert throws her on the bed and tries to shake the truth out of her, but the girl only laughs in the desperate man's face. At night, Humbert begins to feel sick, and the walls of the room float in his eyes. Someone knocks on the door. When he opens it, he sees strange people in masks who are laughing in his face too. Humbert goes to wash his face to get rid of the bad feeling, but it doesn't help. Delirious, he pulls a revolver from his suitcase. When checking into another hotel, Humbert notices the girl's sickly condition. Lo's face is pale, and she says she is not feeling well. The man takes Lolita to the hospital, where the doctor demands that she stay overnight. The next day, early in the morning, Humbert calls the hospital to inquire about Lo's health. The nurse on the phone tells him that the girl has recovered, and that Uncle Gustave has picked her up from the hospital with a cute little dog. After this, Humbert goes to the hospital, knocking everything in his path. When he arrives, he makes a scene like a madman. He throws himself at the nurses, knocks the doctors to the ground, and bangs his head on the floor, demanding to know where his daughter had disappeared. A police car arrives and brings him to his senses. The distraught man apologizes for his behavior and leaves. Humbert leaves the hotel and begins to search for the kidnapper. He looks for records of him in hotel guest books, knowing his handwriting. Several months of obsessive pursuit go by to no avail, and Humbert returns home. 3 years later, he receives a short letter from Lolita. She tells him that she's married and expecting a child by Christmas, but that she and her husband cannot get out of debt. Lo asks for money, $300 or $400. Instead of sending the check as Lo requested, Humbert decides to bring it himself. Before the trip, he practices shooting a revolver. At Lolita's address, Humbert finds an old house. The girl opens the door for him. Dolores no longer looks like the wild teenager he remembered her as. Calm, wearing plain clothes and glasses, she invites him in. Humbert looks around the house, and through the back door glass sees a young man on a ladder. It is Lolita's husband, but it is not the man he is looking for.
No. It's not the one I want.
Lolita tells him that it was Claire Quilty who followed them and took her from the hospital. Remembering him, Lolita smiles dreamily and calls him the only man she has ever loved, but he kicked her out. Quilty was shooting little girls on film in his mansion, and Lolita was only a potential actress to him. When she said she wasn't going to be a part of it, Quilty threw her out. Humbert, mesmerized, looks at Lolita. Neither this story nor her pregnancy prevents him from passionately loving her. He proposes that she leave with him right away. Instead of answering, Lolita hints at the money she wrote about in the letter. Humbert hands her an envelope with $4,000. Lolita is grateful to the man, but does not agree to go with him. She says she would rather go back to Quilty. When saying his goodbye on the porch, Humbert asks Lo,
Lo, can you ever forget what I've done to you?
The girl does not answer, and Humbert gets into his car. Suddenly, he sees the old Lo in front of him, a carefree, smiling girl in short shorts. From Lolita's porch, the man goes to the Quilty mansion. He finds the writer strutting imposingly around the house in an open robe. Without further ado, Humbert takes out his revolver, shoots one bullet after another into the man, and when Quilty has already lost a lot of blood, makes the final shot. The police pursue Humbert's car, but he has no intention of fleeing. The man stops the car and surrenders. A short time later, Humbert dies in prison of coronary thrombosis. Lolita and her daughter die in childbirth on Christmas Day. As always, you'll find the movie title in the description of the video. And also, please do let us know in the comments, what literary film adaptations do you consider the best? And don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss any new exciting stories.